Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the Bully the Board NFL Board Meeting. As always, it's Kevin, Seth, and Steve with you. Let's give thanks. Thanksgiving football is here, baby. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend. We got a lot to break down. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it.
Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please. I'm trying to get paid. Not today, not today.
Turkey and football is on the horizon, boys. Yeah, Thanksgiving week is here. Thanksgiving football is around the corner. First ever Black Friday game is also around the corner. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, NFL, shout out to NFL, I guess, just for trying new shit, trying to take over every day of the week at this point. But we'll see, man. Yeah, yeah, I'm here for it too. So, all right. It's been a long season already. We're gonna talk about some matchup maps, efficiency landscape, model predictions, and breakdowns. So let's get into all of it. As always, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. We do these board meetings every single week for you guys, both for NFL and for college. Your engagement, your participation really helps us grow, really helps us keep our pedal to the metal with all the stuff. So really would appreciate the like and subscribe there. All right. 11 weeks in the books. Wild. Absolutely wild stuff. So
yeah,
starting to see some separation, not only because of injuries, but also just in terms of play on the field, right? So why don't we break down some teams and some information here from each conference. So let's start with the AFC first. Interesting. As the top dog, the Chiefs, they go into, or they have Philadelphia come into a Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah.
And damn, I mean, the talk coming out of that game, you guys, was that basically a one-man show. Patrick Mahomes had nobody, got no help. Dropping it like it's hot, especially on offense.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for them, but any reason to think that the Chiefs aren't still the top dog in the AFC?
No, and I'm happy that that's kind of your takeaway, because I think statistically that's the right takeaway. You can you can go from not catching balls to catching balls. This isn't they just got to get better. It's okay, we're talking top level athletes. They had an off night, and yeah, it was pretty bad, but they dominated. It's a bit strong, but the Chiefs were the better team in that game. They won that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me they are.
Okay. Steve, you feel?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think that was me. My bad. I'm with you on that. So you look at this game recap, right? And the box score, the Eagles really eked that one out, but no, the Chiefs were the better team. You had the fumble in the red zone by Kelsey. You had the missed catch by MVS that would have had the go-ahead touchdown. Then you had Justin Watson, who had a chance to catch that 4th and 25 pass from Mahomes to extend the game. So the Chiefs had every opportunity to win this game up and down the field. It just drops happen. But like Seth said, you can go and you can work on that week to week. That doesn't have to be a necessarily a season-long play. What does concern me, though, about KC, I think it's the 3rd straight game they've been shut out in the second half. And it's that to me is a little concerning. I mean, we've talked about this all season long, where KC is really winning games on defense. And yes, their offense is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not that KC elite it's been in years past, but their defense has picked up the slack. And so the defense showed up. I mean, at one point, Hurts was 5 for 7 or something like that with 47 yards, deep into the first half. I only know because I had him on my fantasy team. That's why I know that stat. But the Chiefs defense showed up, and they've been really impressive year in and year out. So I chalk this up as a bad game for their offense, and I'm still very concerned if I'm anybody but KC having to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah. Ravens look good. Sure. I have to say, Ravens do continue to look good. They obviously covered last week when we were hoping they wouldn't, but there was some circumstances in that game that were a little tricky that we couldn't forecast. But I don't know. The AFC in some ways seems as good as we thought and not as good as we thought. There's, the Bengals are obviously an underperforming team and look to now be fully kind of RIP with the Burrow injury. Chiefs are good, but good in a really different way than we thought they would be. I guess the Ravens are good. a good team. They still are fallible. And then the Bills, very, very confusing. We can still see they're an elite team, but they're still confusing to me. And then the Dolphins, I think we forecasted them and others were kind of maybe on there, but that's a team that I wouldn't necessarily put them in the elite driver's seat yet.
Right.
But are one of the better teams, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and elsewhere for my money, not that I think either of these teams will do any real damage come playoff time or later in the season here, but two teams moving on from coaches respectively. Raiders with McDaniels, and they've effectively balled out since his departure. I mean, they covered against Miami, they didn't win, right? But they covered and won the week before. Yeah, right. They've been playing really well, and then the most recent news, coaching wise, is the Steelers firing Matt Canada. Finally,
yes, that happened today.
So that seems to have been a long time coming. Do we see a similar bump in play or juice or sort of unquantifiable effort, if you will, from that team? Because they're another weird anomaly to me. Like they have a winning record. They've been outgained in every single
it's crazy.
This year. And so, what does that look like for them moving forward now?
Yeah, the answer is I don't know, and I'll put a hand up here about my ignorance. Like, I was thinking about this. Like, so it sounds. So you're a fan. You're calling for Matt Canada's head. You're wanting him to fire. They want to move on. Okay, they do it mid-season. How exactly do you expect the problem to actually be solved? Because if you hired someone to run the offense and that's what they do, you can't just be like, all right, well, you're fired. Let's go find somebody else. You have to wait until next season to do that. So you're promoting somebody within. This is from my understanding of how it goes. Why all of a sudden do you believe you're going to see so much better offense from this person? That's the one thing that confuses me. I guess we kind of saw it with the Bills last week, but I'm still a little bit confused about what that expectation is. So you can go and do this thing where you chop the person's head off, but I'm not sure how you actually see the effect you're looking for, which is a better offense. Is there's somebody in the building all along that knew really elite offensive play calling, and they were like, "No, let's hold off. Like, that's where I'm a little. I don't want to say you lost me, but I don't get that part of it.
Sure.
Yeah, and it just as a Bears fan, as someone who's used to going through a lot of OCs and head coaches year after year and mid-year, like different is not necessarily better. I completely agree with you, Seth. I mean, this team, again, I saw that stat too. They've been outgained. Excuse me, they've been outgained in every game this year.
Like raw yarders,
but they're still 6-4, right? And so it's like, yes, things could be better. I'm not saying that, but a change doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a better team, right? Is it still the same scheme because you don't want to learn a new playbook or a new system mid-year? I mean, this is kind of the collegiate version of what USC did, right? USC fired Alex Grinch, their defensive coordinator, because they've been getting up all these points. And what happened? Well, then they lost in this game by giving up damn near 40. So I'm with you, Seth. I'm not really buying the hype here. It seems like a scapegoat. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have Kenny Pickett.
Did something. Yeah, and maybe he is the problem, but you can't solve it. You can't solve it in season like you would want to. So
you still, I mean, how much is the coordinator tied to the quarterback's like measurements on the field? Kenny Pickett is, we'll say firmly, but he's in the quadrant of woe. Like he's less efficient than average, and he's consistently less efficient than average.
Yeah,
on a play-to-play basis.
Last year he was very, very. He's not been a volatile quarterback, but he was in the quadrant of elite. And we were thinking, wow, this guy could take a step forward. I mean, it's gone bad. And to your point, like, who's the real problem? I mean, we got even Big Ben watching like plays where Kenny Pickett, he throws like a deep ball and they follow it. It's just to nobody. It's like, whose fault was that? Because either the wide receiver ran the wrong route or Kenny Pickett threw the wrong ball. But how is that Matt Canada's fault? I'm not sure.
Right.
This feels nice, but again, I'm not sure what it means. So I don't know. Shout out to the Steelers. But I don't know that I think this does much for me.
Right. And then the last thing I'll say on the AFC real quick, from my take is, has the Sean Payton effect kicked in yet? Because it kind of feels like it's started to.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely beat, admittedly, they barely beat a Vikings team, although they're playing relatively well,
The
admittedly.
Vikings are in the
Much to our
quadrant of elite.
chagrin. I know. Much to our chagrin, the Vikings are playing well overall.
They
So
beat a Kansas City team in the quadrant of elite.
Yeah,
okay. I was here.
Yeah, no. For me, and I will fully admit, I do not know how to quantify this. I do not know how to objectively describe or prove any of what I'm about to say. So you can call BS left and right, and
Okay.
you'll be
all
fine.
right,
Let's
all
hear
right.
it. Let's hear
But
it. Let's hear it.
the Broncos just seem like a team that's punching up, that's overperforming. I refuse to believe the Broncos are a good team on both sides of the ball in the same game because I just haven't seen them pass the eye test. They're doing enough to win. And give credit where credit's due. They did beat KC in KC. They did eke out a really hot Vikings team with Josh Dobbs in there, but it just seems like they're lucking their way into these wins. So I don't know.
What was fluky? What was fluky about either of those wins?
Yeah, so you look at this game and you look at where the Broncos are at, right? And so the Broncos, the same team. Well, we'll say they gave up 7 against Miami, right? Everyone talked about how they look so trash, and their defense has been steadily improving. From that game on, right? And then you see here through the week 11, you can see where their offense has stayed to pay. And I made this point. It really didn't seem like it was all Russ's fault, even though he wasn't quite doing the things he needs to do. But you go back to this offensive play and what's been fluky about this team. It's just like it always seems, again, I you can call bullshit on me. It just always seems like they are in the benefit of a weird play or, a weird lucky scenario or, the other team not quite playing up to their standard, which you can obviously say maybe it's their defense imposing their will or, the other way around. But I don't know. I'm not a believer here. And that's completely subjective.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this later for their week 12 matchup, but like, I was curious to look a little bit deeper into who the Broncos are without that Miami game. So who is this team without that Miami team? And what you see is they get transformed to be, if you go back one, right smack dab on top of the Chargers. If you look 3 forward, so you just get rid of 1 and 2, and you just look from 3 forward, which is a fairly big sample size. This is not an elite defense. This is still a bottom feeder defense that's just holding on. But the offense is actually doing much better than I would have forecasted on a per play basis. So I think, what we're seeing in the numbers and where they're at here is still being heavily influenced by that one game. And I don't, when you have a game that bad, it's going to be honest, like that's kind of the name of the game. But this team, I don't know. I mean, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Vikings, and they beat the Bills. And I think it's a combination of both those things. And I agree, it's not a team I feel great about, but I'll ask you this question, Steve. How bad did 22 Russ hurt you? Like, how much of that is coming in here where you're just like, because we've bet on them quite a lot last year, and he just literally never came through. Not once. Until maybe the later part of the season, which here we are again.
Yeah, and then actually, and Kevin, if you go up to the QB volatility, that's a great point, right? And so, kind of just looking back and seeing, where does Russ lie on this, right? So he's like right there on the edge of quadrant of elite, right? Where his EPA play is slightly above average, and he's about, a median volatility. And I mean, I'm with you on that stuff. I think the eye test to me definitely says it's not Russ's fault, but I don't see where I don't know how they're winning these games. I really don't. And again, you're right. They're above average offensive EPA. And you throw out the Miami game, they're really good. Their defense, which has been their Achilles heel all year long, has gotten better as time goes on. And Russell statistically is a borderline great quarterback from an EPA per play standard. My mind can't conceptualize and believe all that's true. I don't know, man. Yeah.
I could see that.
It's fascinating. Yeah. So
are the Jags good? Are the Jags good?
Good, not great. Yeah.
They're just meh. I mean, I guess they're right there on average. This team is very confusing to me.
Agreed.
Yeah, they're certainly going under my radar. Like they rarely are a blip on the radar. Like if they win or lose, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Nothing about them has overly impressed me, but nothing about them has overly concerned me either. So I think they're. I mean,
see.
they
I'm on
have
the
a-
opposite.
You weren't.
Nothing has impressed me because they beat the teams they're supposed to, and then the
I
teams
agree.
are supposed to play competitively. They get the shit kicked out of them. So I'm like, then that's when I'm like, what? Like this doesn't make sense. Like I mean, 2 weeks ago, I mean they
Okay.
lost by like how much
34 to
against San
3 to the
Francisco,
49ers.
and
Yeah.
then they go and do like make it seem like they're a really good team against Tennessee. I'm like, I'm very perplexed against this team. This team beat Buffalo. This is a team that dominated Pittsburgh, but they've also lost against Houston, and maybe that doesn't look as weird now, but to me, it still looks weird.
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
mean, to
not a
me, this
believer. Houston's an elite team. I'm still not a believer there.
do you think they're punching up?
well,
I don't think they're punching up. I think they're an average team, which everybody's forecasting them to be below average, which is still a big move. But
So yeah,
Stroud, I mean,
they're
Stroud.
relatively.
If the Cardinals coach had any real coaching experience and strategy, they would have lost that game. He would have taken the field goal, and then they would have been in the pole position to kick the field goal to win the game. And for whatever reason, he didn't like that. He just wants to go for two and just like he just wants to win the game rather than like make good decisions that win you the game.
Right. Yeah, going back to the Jags real quick, then the Jags remind me, they kind of remind me of a little more concerning version of the Dolphins, in that the Dolphins beat up on teams they're supposed to beat up, and they lose to teams that are just elite teams. Jags kind of fall in that same thing, but I'm not entirely sure they're beating up on teams they're supposed to beat up on. And I'll give Houston credit. I think Houston is a above average team. They're definitely not elite. I'm with you on that stuff, but I do think they're a good team for right now, at least. But what concerns me is, you look at the Jags. I don't know if the Bills are a great team this year. I mean, the record should show. I mean, you lose to the Patriots, right? I mean, they've had some concerning losses this year. And granted, anyone can beat anyone any given day. I'm not, whatever, but I'm not sold that this is a Bills team that's
the
going to
continuity of their season is very interesting. Like there is no continuity.
Yeah,
like they win games and then they lose weird ones. Then they I mean, think about when we bet against them against Washington, they won by 40. I think the other thing too is Josh Allen has hurt his shoulder, I think. So it's like, again, are we in the same situation where Josh Allen is more injured than we realize or that they're telling us? And that's playing a role.
And the Bills defense is decimated. So, I mean,
decimated.
There's stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, weird stuff in the AFC for sure, but little, I don't know, little less so, would you say, on the other side, on the NFC? I mean, the top dogs, the Niners, like the Buccaneers played them somewhat competitively, in my opinion.
If you, God bless your soul, if you were on Bucks plus whatever they were on, like I think that closed at like 12, like you were on the right side of that bet and you didn't cash, and I'm so sorry.
That would have been tough. That would have been tough for sure.
Like they were in the red zone twice and didn't get any points.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So we talked about Philly beating KC. So obviously a pretty solid win for them, no doubt about it. Getting a little revenge there, and then Dallas handling business, beating up on the Panthers.
But hold on, but San Francisco, they lost their safety. Their safety tore their ACL in that game. The San Francisco 49ers. He's out for the season.
Okay.
This is a huge loss.
So that's the is this the beginning of the end, or is history going to repeat itself? The Niners seem to be injured almost every single year,
and they are not deep. They're not deep at safety.
I think that's the only real major injury for them so far this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Other than the kind of missing of games by Debo and stuff. But I mean, he's out for the season. I think that's a pretty big hit to the defense. Now, I'm with you. I was looking to bet them, and there's just no more value. There's like plus 450s. It's just not enough. This team looks damn good. Yeah, it looks damn good. I know they're kind of my favorite right now.
Okay, so I know it was a divisional game, Steve, and Bears played them hard. Justin Fields coming back, but are you guys ready? I don't know. Maybe I haven't, admittedly, for whatever reason. I don't know, not intentionally. I think the Lions are dominant. I think the Lions are legit.
How do you justify that game
against the Bears?
Yeah.
Two teams. I mean, when you play conference or divisional games, like it's not quite rivalry week in college, but like it's difficult to consistently dominate teams that you're intimately
But
familiar
this is a
with.
bottom feeder team. This team's won 3 games.
Well, but here's the part that you're missing though,
Okay.
and so this is a key thing that you have to understand.
Gotcha.
The Bears will screw you no matter what you want. So whenever we were betting on the Bears, they will do the exact opposite of what you need. That's just being a lifelong Bears fan. That's what we do best. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can we all agree that we deserve that back door that we didn't get?
Oh
yeah,
100%. Yeah.
That I honestly do believe that lineman accidentally kicked the ball out. I think he was literally gonna try to pick it up, and he accidentally kicked the ball out of bounds.
Yeah,
that would have been wild. So anyway, I guess to wrap up my point here, like I don't know. In a one game, what do you want to call it? Fluke performance, perhaps, against the Bears. Like, they didn't dominate the Bears like they quote unquote should have, but really, I still like a win's a win's a win. And if you're not gonna, good teams win, great teams cover, or whatever. But
sure,
yeah, and I mean they did score 17 in the fourth quarter. I mean they did score 17 in the fourth to win that game.
That's fair.
So I'll give them that. But yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah. And look at this the rest of the way that they have to, the schedule that they have to play. A very underwhelming Packers team, but still divisional. Okay. Middling Saints team, the Bears again. I don't know, up and coming Broncos, dare I say? I don't know, but still average at best, right? A Vikings team, which they play the Vikings twice in the last 3 weeks of the season. Okay. So that'll be fascinating. But I think kind of like I said last week, I think by that time, the Vikings and more specifically Josh Dobbs will have. He's not going to be like this hidden treasure anymore. Like his weaknesses will have been exposed. I think.
Does he have weaknesses? He doesn't have hair.
He's got a lot of weaknesses, and he can't. He cannot. He cannot. There's a phrase. Damn it! That would have been a perfect timing for that joke. But he's a quarterback who is not going to be able to progress through his reads. That's who he is. He's a career backup. Okay, he's not a guy who's gonna. Yeah, he's not a guy who's going to just dismantle you through the air.
I think they call this buyer's or seller's remorse.
Yeah,
he won one game for the Cards in 6 attempts, 6 or 7 attempts.
Cowboys.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
No, you're right. Because in this scenario, who has the worst seller's remorse? The Browns. They traded him away at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
They wish they could take that back. I would imagine.
This is a 3-dog race, in my opinion, in the NFC. It's Niners, it's Cowboys, and it's the Lions, for my money.
Yeah, I going to make a point with this graph?
Nope, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, what about Philly? Philly it does just keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to replace Cowboys with Eagles, in my opinion. I mean, the Eagles have shown that they are.
Oh, did I say Cowboys? If I say Cowboys, sorry,
yeah.
I meant Eagles. Niners, Eagles, and Lions for my money.
Gotcha. I mean, it'll be really interesting because Eagles play Niners, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Maybe 2 weeks, I think. So that'll be interesting, and I think we're looking for I think that's when we see maybe some issues with Philly. But if they win that game, I don't know how they're not like for sure the staple number 1 team.
Yep.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's going to be their. What's going to get exposed more potentially? You think their offense or defense?
Both. I mean, if they end up losing by 15, I mean, there's so many revenge spots. Like San Francisco thought they were going to whoop the shit out of Philly last year. Literally, the first play or second play of their offensive drive, they tear Purdy's arm off, so he's done. Then they lose their next quarterback. I mean, it was like the weirdest game ever. And then you screw their playoff and Super Bowl champion or Super Bowl dreams. I could see that they are going to want to step on the gas. And who have we? It's weird when we look back, like who stopped the 49ers? It's kind of weird. We saw a really, I mean, we can see how good the Browns defense is. And quite frankly, the 49ers won that game. They just missed the kick. Like they struggled, blah, blah, blah. But
they were there.
Yeah, they did everything to win that game. It just kicked didn't go in. Okay, that makes sense. Then we have a interesting, and this was a Kirk Cousins led San Francisco team So I think that makes even a little bit more sense. I can't
Kirk Cousins,
remember.
Vikings, yeah.
Wait, Vikes team?
Yeah, Vikings. Sorry. So I don't remember if this is a Kirk Cousins. He was in, but I don't remember if Jefferson was out at that time. But they won there. And then who's their other loss? They have another loss
To the
I think they have
Bengals.
Bengals. So
Yeah.
no, they didn't lose
That-
to the Bengals.
Yeah,
they
they
did.
did.
Yeah.
They got
And
decimated.
that was like peak Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's back, baby. Right? That was that game.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
because
don't
it
remember
was in that. It was
I must have
a
blacked out.
yeah, because that was that 3-game span where they lost 3 in a row, and it was Debo was out, and McCaffrey was injured at some point in that span, and yeah.
So yeah, if that that you're right. That'll be a huge game in a couple weeks. Yeah, that'll be really telling for sure. So I'm glad those two teams play each other actually.
Yeah,
really
I
good.
agree.
Okay.
I agree, especially if you have San Francisco tickets, because which I know you do. So I think that'll be that thing. That ticket's got to be worth a fair amount of money.
I actually have not checked once this season. I have. Yeah, I'm just kind of sitting on it because it's
$450 or something like that.
The Niners. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
the Chiefs, or at least before this weekend, it was the Chiefs, Niners, and Eagles. I think with the shortest odds.
Gotcha.
To win it all. So we'll see, man. So yeah, interesting stuff across the league. I mean, again, we got a lot to play out still, but it's happening fast. And we luckily relative to last season only, the injuries to the quarterback situation hasn't been as dire or as drastic. Like last year set all kinds of records, right? For a number of quarterbacks that started. I think it was like 63 or 64 different individuals started quarterback for some NFL team here. So it has not been that bad. Obviously, there's some marquee names off the shelf now this year. So that's obviously a huge factor moving forward. But yeah, I don't know. For my money, like it's fascinating to see somebody like Justin Herbert here pretty firmly in the quadrant of elite on a very underwhelming Chargers team. Now, if you guys are on Twitter much, or if you're in the space as much, you kind of know that Justin Herbert is like this folklore hero, so to speak. Like he's got a lot of haters out there, but he, in many respects, is measured to be one of the most efficient, high performing quarterbacks consistently too. People love to hate on him though because he can't win the big one, or his teams are always sucking or whatever. So I feel bad for him, honestly, but
or is Staley the issue?
Right. That was going to be it. I think there's a top down issue here, and it's not Herbert.
Yeah, their defense.
So.
Their defense. They drop. I think they've had like 3 1-possession games this season or something like that. Like they've lost all 5. Or sorry, they've had 5 1-possession games, and they lost all 5 or something like this. Staley will get fired, and if I'm the owner, I just fire him now. Like, there's no point.
Bill Belichick comes and coaches the Chargers.
Go get somebody that can, go get. I don't know who you're gonna go.
Who's good with quarterbacks?
Yeah, exactly.
Go
get Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh no! Don't do that. Don't do that.
All right. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know who you're gonna go get. Go get it. Because it doesn't have to be this offensive mind play caller person that.
Yeah.
But maybe you want. But I think Bill Belichick goes off into the sunset. Do you really think he can start over and build another dynasty? Maybe. I think he can do it. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that he wants to do it.
Right. The dude's 73 or something. There's going to be 73. Yeah. Like, dude, pack it up. Pack it up and pack it in, baby.
Yeah. Let me begin.
Exactly right. All right. So, you know what? Somewhat, maybe ironic is the right word to say, but, we had this discussion a week ago about, the model had an 0 for a week. It went 0-5, right?
Yeah.
And then we talked about, well, even if we went 0 for again this upcoming week, we still be profitable. And you know what? Maybe just to prove our own point, it had to be. So here we are looking back at the week 11 model predictions. So I guess maybe a caveat to that, the Bengals, Lions, and Dolphins for sure did not cover.
Yes.
The Cardinals, small caveat with this one here. So we're counting it as a loss on our Bully the Board record picks page and everything. But this was an interesting one because just between the three of us here, This opened at 5.5. Steve got a 5.5. He covered. I got a 5. I pushed, and you got a 4.5 and lost. So we're in this.
I'm even worse. I got a 4. I didn't even have a shot. Like I was DOA.
Right.
Like I was. I'm a noob. Yeah. No. So I don't know. Yeah. So I think we end up giving out a 4.5, if I'm not mistaken, on the picks on our actual website. So, but the model was right. If you had 5.5, take that bet. You would have won it. It wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
So, but that was a rough one. And the Bengals, you can't forecast that.
Yeah.
You can't forecast Joe Burrow's going to blow his hand
about
up.
that.
I mean, he literally did that on a play where they score and took the lead. Shout out to Amazon because get some new cameramen. They didn't even show this. They didn't show any of that was going on. After the fact, they show you all the nice angles, but they didn't show that at all. They didn't even talk about it. And then the Bengals are driving down the field, and all of a sudden they cut to Joe Burrow jogging off the field, and you're thinking, well, there's like 3 minutes left. Maybe he has to poop or something. And then they're like, yeah, look at this pass. He, hurt his hand. And you're like, oh, wait, what? How did this happen?
Yeah.
So, and then the Lions, we could have easily backdoored, and I think we deserved a backdoor there, especially for all the gambling gods and what they've done to us in previous years. And then Miami was just a bad bet. And to your point, Steve, we talked about it. I think McDaniels was the fire because that team is playing damn good.
Yeah. I think to me, like, and it's kind of funny because the Raiders lost this game, but we talked about earlier, the Dolphins have made an absolute habit of beating up on bad teams. Yeah. And to me, like that's the most convincing argument that the Raiders aren't a bad team anymore.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I got futures for Super Bowl, baby. They're worth $7. So I'm holding on tight.
Wait. Oh, for the Raiders, you mean? Yeah.
Wait, Raiders win the Super Bowl. I'm convinced by this play, like I was right all along. If I just had a good head coach that I was betting on, that this Raiders team was a good team. They've just we need more better reporting here. Why? Like you just hear all these anecdotal stories. Why won't tell anybody give us the real tea? How big of a piece of shit is Mike McDaniels?
That's the real juice. Yeah. That's the real shit we need.
What is he doing? Like, what is he saying? I mean, we've heard some anecdotal stuff where like apparently he was trying to like you just air out the grievances, and he put the now interim head coach up there, and he was saying like how he how his teams rallied in the past, and like that's how they beat the Patriots, and then he comes up and says like don't ever talk about the Patriots like that. You're like, this guy is just straight up delusional. But there's got to be some really good stories of like how delusional is this guy really, because this team is humming.
Sorry, Josh McDaniels, not Mike McDaniels, right?
Sorry,
okay.
Yeah. Mike McDaniels is my Dolphins coach.
Yeah.
I heard he's an asshole too. No, I'm just kidding. No, Josh. Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, all good, but yeah, still holds. Like you see the record here now. Looking ahead to week. Is this week 11 or week 12? Actually,
it's week 12. Sorry, it's a typo.
Okay,
yeah, I didn't update
week 12 here, but still looking at the overall record, 26, 21-1 here. So. Still, despite two really bad weeks in a row, we're still sitting in the green ever so slightly.
Yeah, we need some winning week.
ROI.
We need a winning week.
Yeah,
definitely. For sure. Mentally, I need it. I mean, it has. Yeah. I mean, that's not how it works at all. You have to trust your process. But like, reflecting back on last week, though, tell me the Cardinals was not the best bet. Was not the right bet in that game. I think it was.
Great.
We won't know what the right bet was for Bengals, right? But with an injury like that, though, that was shaping up to be a kind of tip for tat game. I mean, even the backup was able to score another 10 points. So I have I have to think that was not a bad bet. Would it have covered? I have no idea. Lions and Dolphins could be, I don't say bad bets, but we saw closing line value. That game closed at 14.
Especially the Dolphins,
Yeah, and then we saw negative CLV in the Lions. So it's like, okay, so let's just say it was supposed to work out how it's supposed to work out. We would have covered Dolphins and we would have lost Lions, and the Lions was the bad bet. There was the one bad bet out of the 4 bets. We go 3-1, right? So yeah, I don't think from a process standpoint anything jumps out at me here of like, damn, what's the model? Like the model's wrong. At least that's kind of what I'm taking away from it. I mean, maybe I'm delusional.
No. I think we 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 bad weeks, but we have. I think we have 2 many weeks before that, we have back testing. We have all these other signals to point to
Sure.
say nothing, no five alarms going off. As far
Yeah.
as our North Star, our compass, so in terms of the process. So yeah, I'm with you 100%. So week 12 here. All right, we got a couple of interesting plays. So in no particular order. Actually, Steve, do you have them so we could rattle off real quick?
I can pull them up.
Okay. So there's five official ones, and we'll talk about the Jets. Or I guess just briefly. They're not. I think that's a stay away for us because
Yeah.
Zach Wilson benched.
Yeah.
Tim Boyle in, although to your point, I think you're about to say this. The model does like Boyle in as well. And very interestingly, I don't know, it's bizarre to me, but weird situation there, like kind of systematically, would you say? So, so stay away for that reason.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna talk about this game, but you go through the bet,
Okay.
Steve.
Yep. All right. So we got 49ers minus 6.5 at a minus 115, still EV there. We got Bucks plus 2.5, Saints plus 1, Rams plus 1.5 at minus 120 on FanDuel, still EV there, and the Broncos minus 1 for minus 106.
Yeah. First and foremost, I love this board this week. I don't win or lose, and I guess maybe I'll eat my words. I love the board this week. So shout out to Bully the Board to here because I love these bets. On the Jets piece, I've been convinced to put a quarter unit on it, which is probably not saying much, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and trust the process just to a much lesser degree. I did not realize that Boyle is been Rodgers' backup at he's been the third string backup at in Green Bay, and then it's followed him here, and so he knows this Hackett offense very, very, very well. Now, he started in preseason. He's got some preseason starts under his belt. Now he's backup for a reason, but he's been Aaron Rodgers' backup, so it's not like he's had a lot of opportunity to play, and he should know this offense and be able to, let's say, execute it maybe better than Zach. I don't think there's a whole lot of faith here. It shouldn't be the one unit. I could even respect not betting at all, but I think for that, I'm going to scale way down, but I'm going to chew a little bit of value. Now, that being said, this number just keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
Yeah. Bet
favorites early, bet dogs late. I'm just going to hold, and get the best number I can get. I mean, at this point, I think I can get a 10.5. I can get 10. I can get a firm 10. Yep. Market makers 10, except a 9.5 at circa. So happy to get a 9.5, but I think I can even get a 10.5, and I can cover a 10 spread here. So I'm going to hold, but I'm going to bet a scaled version of my normal bet here. But I think I'm just going to nibble on a value. think too much value here. We know that any market right now is going to be in the same situation we are, which is we've seen closing line value on a lot of these Jets bets, even though they just keep falling flat on their face. There's something about what the Jets do, and I think it's mostly defensively, that models like. The problem is they just suck on offense. But this guy has no starts. I mean, he's basically a ghost. So everybody's going to have trouble modeling this and actually getting a good number. So I think it's might as well just nibble.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and I'm with you on that too. I just real quick I think this is going to be another potential of addition by subtraction, just like we talked about with Josh McDaniels and whatnot. Again, we don't know, right? Because we don't have the data to show, but man, Zach Wilson has been so freaking bad in that offense. I don't know how you can get worse. I really don't. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. And it could be invigorating to the synergies. We're talking about the humanistic side of things. Like the defense has been looking for a reason to keep showing out every week. And maybe this is it. The problem is they're starting to get injured. But again, scaled. I don't, this is bet at your own risk. This is big boy stuff. Like you ain't, I'm not taking accountability if you're psycho enough to bet this.
Yeah, can I say one last thing real quick about this bet? I have slowly, I know we talked about this before, and I was like, not for me. I said no for me, dog, right, in our group chat. But I am coming around to this, and I'm with you, Seth. I am going to continue to wait a little bit, sprinkle a little now, but I am going to continue to wait till I get a 10, 10.5, and really get on that public sentiment because Dolphins going to be heavy favorites for a reason, right? But to your point about, Boyle being the backup to the backup, in this case, Wilson, I don't know if I actually believe that he's been the third string backup because he's not better than Zach Wilson. We've seen Saleh keep with Wilson for far too long. And I'm wondering if that's pressure because Wilson's the number 1 draft pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that has played into the decision to start him this long because there really should have been no reason he should be an NFL starting quarterback. So we'll see.
Or that's how bad Boyle is.
that is a legitimate possibility. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's break down a couple of these matchups though, a little more in depth here. So again, 49ers at Seahawks. This is is this one of the Thursday night? Is this a Thanksgiving game?
Yeah, this is Thursday, I believe.
Thursday night football.
Safety out for the season for 49ers. This thing opened at 5.5, moved very quickly to 7. We were able to get a 6.5. Once it was confirmed that the safety tore his ACL, these now moved back to the 7s. And the market is kind of confused here. There is a 7 at there's a 7 at Pinnacle. There's a 7 at Bet Chris, and there is now Circa just literally moved this to 7. So now we're back at 7s across the board, and now there are no 6.5s. No, never mind. This all just happened in real time. So never mind. 6.5 was a good bet, but this basically moved to 7, then back to 6.5, and then now it looks like it just moved back to 7. So it looks like there's a war going on here at 7, and I think it's basically the safety injury that, to my knowledge, is what's kind of playing the role, which is a big loss for your especially going against Seahawks offense, which has been strong.
Yeah. Speaking of what do you guys think about this team though? Because this is a weird spot for them coming off a loss to a meddling, by all accounts, most of the season Rams team. So they lose to the Rams by 1 in LA, and now they got to go and face the 49ers, and you only want to give me 6.5. Like, go ahead.
I would say, and to be fair, Gino sat part of that game to injury, and then he came back for the final drive. And they did really have a chance to win. I mean, the first couple of throws, they were moving.
No, they did. They got there. They were in field goal range. They just missed the kick.
Right. They missed it. 55-yard kick. Yeah.
But I guess still to that point exactly. Like, is Gino going to be healthy then? Short week. Like, is he the El Shoo-in to start?
No, I don't think we know that, even though they're posturing that they do, because they had to release injury report yesterday already, and he's not even on that injury report. That seems interesting to me. But we'll see. It sucks that we lose the safety there. This is the better bet. I especially when they're humming on offense. What are we talking about? We're talking about a 1 possession win, which, by all accounts, the 49ers aren't kicking field goals. I mean, no one's really stopping them. I was looking at this because I haven't gone back. Look at their echo rate. 64% of the 49ers drives, they're getting to the 40 or better. That is insane. I mean, usually these teams, really good teams, are in the 50s. So Seahawks are good offense, but this is like a different level of efficiency. How Gino's playing versus how Purdy's playing. I mean, yes, the 49ers defense has been good, and the safety loss is a big deal, but I think when you're betting the 6.5, we're betting kind of a shootout here. I don't know. It's crazy that 49ers go up 14, never look back, and it's really difficult for the Seahawks to cover this. Can they? Yes, it's a divisional game. It can go pretty interesting, but if Gino's hurt on a short week, this seems like the right bet. I'm telling you, you're going to hear me say the same thing over and over. Like this, I love what the models pick this week. It all makes a lot of logical sense. You can really, really key in on the strengths versus the weaknesses, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you all that. And I think too, and obviously we can't really bank or bet on this, but to your point, Seth, the whole, do we know Gino's injury and whatnot, the injury report, this and that. What is his re-injury risk? Is he going to be able to play the entire game? and play up to this level with that really tough San Francisco defense, right?
Yeah.
Because if Drew Lock has to come into this game at any point, this is game. That's game over.
Yeah.
That's a game over. It's 49ers
And now
game in the car.
I just realized this too. Like, Niners lose a safety, but Seahawks are going to be down Kenneth Walker. So
wow,
that's a big loss too. So
that is.
Although I think not that it evens out, but those injuries. But I just I'm struggling to see how 6.5 is not the right place to be.
Well, and quite frankly, that's where all the value is.
Right.
This you see 11%. Don't get fooled here. It's because you're moving through the 7. Period. Point blank. That already happened. That move already happened. So unless you can go back or this thing moves back for whatever reason, like don't go chasing waterfalls here. That 7, you're now starting to make a case for why you would want to bet the Seahawks as far as our numbers are concerned, right? You're not too far off from then wanting to all of a sudden become a Seahawks better. So this is very easily a 1 possession game. I just think it's a touchdown game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Buccaneers and the Colts. So our model prediction says Bucks -4. Spread was at 1.5. What do we? I
2.5.
Totally forget.
2.5. 2.5. Yeah.
We got a 2.5, and that's where the market currently lies.
Yeah, it's now moved to this 2.5, and a lot of injuries in that San Francisco game for Tampa Bay. Levante David is potentially unknown. I haven't had a chance to check in this morning on injury report, but their safety was out. I mean, they got pretty banged up in that game. Yeah. But this is a team that shut down the 49ers there in that fourth quarter and did a pretty good job in that quarter, not up until that point, really. We know that this is a pass funnel team. They've done really well in that regard. And I don't know. I like this team. I think Tampa Bay is an average team, but I think the Colts are below average. Now, I wish I was getting a Buccaneers team where I'm backing full strength, full health defense, because I think it would have a lot of harder time against Minshew or force Minshew into a tougher time. Sure. We'll see. If this gets to 3, I have to say I will be buying another bet.
Buying some more stock.
I have to. At that point, I'll put my hand up that obviously my number is wrong here. The model is wrong and it's not 4. But at that point, a 3 is just too many. I don't think it's going to get there. I think this is not a fake out. I don't think this is market manipulation, but I don't think there's going to be any more buyers personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, I will buy the 3 +3.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I feel like the Bucks are just the best 4-6 team no one's talking about. I mean, I've really been a believer in kind of what they've done, and honestly, I've been a believer in Baker Mayfield, and I've not been a believer in Baker Mayfield, for most of his career. And one of the things that kind of really benefits, man, you can see where Baker Mayfield is at, quadrant elite, right next to Patty Mahomes and Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And one of the things about this team, they just look good. They're one of those things to me, they just have a hard time putting it all together for 60 minutes. But when they do, watch out. This team looks to be formidable. And I don't think the Colts are good enough to really do anything about that. So I do love this spot for the Bucks. I love the model here. You can see kind of how things shake up, on the offensive metrics we have here. So I like it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this one seems this seems like a very wrong spread to me. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Let me make sense of this one for me though, because I've been
doing analysis all day to try to convince myself. I think
all right.
What it comes down to is look at the career EPA for Browns. So DTR starting. DTR is a true rookie. Very few starts, very few plays. This guy is dog shit. But he's only played two games.
Right.
I mean, you can look. These are very, very evenly keeled offenses. You're not getting a lot of difference in that. And obviously, the Browns' defense is much better, but you're getting a much better quarterback. That's really all you're doing. And then, I mean, this is the thing that did it for me. Okay, if you play exactly last week's game over, Browns versus Steelers, but the Steelers have Russell Wilson, who wins that game?
Oh, Steelers.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
with
I'll give you
Matt
that.
Canada. Fuck it, give me Matt Canada.
Yeah.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
look at their echo
Yeah.
rates, right? I mean, the echo rate, you can see the Broncos are better offensively. You can see they're just a little bit better success rate. Third down conversions, they're almost the exact same team. And the Browns have been a little bit better in the red zone. But again, that's not a DTR led Browns, right? So this Browns team is a little bit hodgepodge.
Yeah.
And then let's just, call it what it is. The market also is agreeing with us, which is, let's just say, more important than our opinion.
Right. Yeah, because it's sitting at 2.5 now across the board. So it's been bought about 1.5. So yeah, I think that's the biggest. If you want to cherry pick anything, I would.
But you're right. Like
I for sure.
I don't think they win by. I don't think they win. I won't be surprised if like we push with a 1 or something like. What are you backing here in the Browns? The Browns cannot win every single game through their defense. It's just. What are we talking about here? Yeah. DTR made mistakes in that game.
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, and you're right. Every game, no, but in a weird, wacky one-off sample size where you can have, where you've had to this point some fluke shit happen with the Broncos in their own respect, giving up 70, beating the Chiefs, like this back and forth, weird like highs and lows of the extremes. But then the Browns D liable to score 2 touchdowns, frankly. So
that's fair.
This one smells like fluke shit. This one smells like fluke shit happening.
But look at how bad that offense is. Yeah. Look at they're this point. Depending if you're using this season, they're 8.4 points worse than average. If you use the 15-game rolling average, they're 7.3 points worse than average. I mean, the Broncos ain't good either, but shit, they ain't that bad.
No, fair. So this is the only one for me personally.
I think that's all that's going on. I think that you're just like if you're at the poop market and it's like, you have to buy poop. Do you buy the smelliest poop or the least smelliest poop? And the Broncos are just the least smelliest poop. I think that's all this is.
Well, hey, I think between men, we know sometimes there's a big difference between poop scales.
Yeah. Like, amen. And that's why we're leaving the market with the Russell Wilson.
Shut up, baby. All right, let's move on. We got I think just one more. No, 2 more. Sorry. So next one up, Saints at Falcons. Again, our number says -3 in favor of the Saints. We got them at +1. Yeah. So now, I mean, this is pretty good. This is another one where well, it's actually been all over the place because you got +1s in some place, you got -1s. So I'm gonna say the market is confused, but it's not confused. Solid.
No, market's confused.
Solid on which way.
It's because I don't know how this is possible. It came out today, so we're like, okay, who's starting? Is it Carr? He hurt his shoulder. Nope. It's Derek Carr is somehow in the concussion protocol still from 2 weeks ago. I don't know if the concussion protocol people took a week off. Or he's been concussed this whole time and he has had symptoms. We have no information. So we don't know if Carr's starting. This will be a no bet if it's not a Carr bet or a Carr start. Sorry. And I think that's where the confusion's coming from. Because it makes not a lot of sense.
Yep. Okay, fair. So what, I mean, Steve, what do you think about your boy Ritter though? Because on the flip side, he's got the reins back. He is the starter the rest of the year now.
Yay.
So, yeah. Probably not ideal for our Falcons over either, but
probably not. Yeah. Well, I got nothing here. I mean, you look at this team where obviously the Falcons had higher hopes going into this, especially loaded with the running back talent, the receiver talent. It's that explosive talent all over that offense, and you've seen flashes of that. You've seen flashes of Ritter being good, and you've just seen a lot more of him being bad. And, unfortunately, Heineke and that loss to the Cardinals, right? I mean, you really thought you expect more of that, and that hasn't panned out either. So, I'm not really sure what to expect of this team. I don't find the Saints being dominant. That's why I think the 1-point spread is really accurate. With or without Carr, maybe give him a point or so. But this is, to me, is a coin flip game either way, and I just really hope we're on the right side of it. And which sucks because it's gonna go against our Falcons over, but they're probably are the better team.
And I mean, look at they're so similar on so many statistics. Basically,
Yeah.
almost the same success rate, same echo rate. They're converting almost the same number of third downs, a little bit better of a success rate, red zone. Yeah, both these teams are underachieving. Whoever wins this division and goes to the playoffs is going to get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I frankly, then I hope Carr doesn't start because this is
You don't want to bet this game?
I don't want to bet this game.
I
will
I'm
if I have
reading
to.
the market. There's starting to be bets like at multiple market makers. It's now a pick 'em. So I think people are betting that or forecasting that Saints
Injury
are
report will be out probably by the time most people watch this. So
have you guys heard that though? Like, how does somebody be in the concussion protocol for like multiple? It's like we're going on more than a week now. The last time he played was 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah, I mean, other than having multiple concussions back to back, like we saw that a little bit with Tua last year, right? And they have that risk of post concussion syndrome. I haven't seen one person get one concussion and be out multiple weeks. That must be pretty severe. Or if they miss a concussion prior and like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think that's probably what happened. Or do they not test for concussions in the off week? Because it's truly a bye week.
Well, they don't got to report it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. You know,
they don't got to report it, and they don't they're not in the building necessarily. Like Derek Carr would have been in Key West all week.
Could have been, probably should have been, frankly. So yeah, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, last one up on the on the card. So is going to be LA Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. So our number says Rams by 3, and at open. This has been a fascinating one. At open, it was -1.5, and now it's basically flip flopped. Rams are dogs now in most places.
So market maker is -1, +1, and pick 'em.
It's weird. Yeah, that's all over. I guess it's all over the board. I guess I should have said so. +1, pick 'em. Like, not market is, I guess, again confused, but again, I
think it's the Cup thing.
The Cooper Cup situation?
Yeah, because he hurt his ankle. He didn't come back in the game. He reported that he wanted to come back in. They wouldn't let him.
I mean,
so to be frank though, we didn't bet -1.5 at open. It's open confused. It's been confused. We bet +1.5. So we still I don't think we're going to see negative CLV, even if this moves to 1.5 at all the market makers, because we already have +1.5. So this is a really weird market, and I've been kind of looking all day. I mean, the Rams, like you said it earlier, they've just kind of been they've just been a thorn in people's sides. Like, they've been covering games, they've been winning weird games. They won a game last week that they came back and I don't know. This is what Matt Stafford does. He just won't die. He's a cockroach.
So I mean, being a Cardinals fan on this one, I gladly, absolutely pounced at the opportunity on the +1.5. So I think that this one I probably feel honestly the best about all week. Maybe the Niners as well, maybe tied for 1A, 1B. But obviously with the Cardinals and snapshotting their efficiency and their stats here, kind of big grain of salt. I mean, most of this is obviously with Josh Dobbs and one game with Clayton too, and Kyler Murray's only had 2 games so far with them. So tough to really draw conclusions.
Well, that's his EPA per play for his career. So he's about 4 points better than average.
Yeah. So
Dobbs numbers do not look like that.
Cooper Cup out. I don't think it's gonna matter. This is one of those hard to quantify, but information arbitrage type of situations where Sean McVay just does not lose to the Cardinals. He's lost to them once in his.
But this is a new coach now, not Cliff. He owned Cliff Kingsbury, who you do not support as a hire for.
I don't, but not just a few short minutes ago, we were singing the praises of the current Cardinals coach. I say facetiously about his coaching decisions and whatnot. I don't think he's worlds better than Cliff Kingsbury by any stretch, but this is a worse team talent wise So even if you're a better coach, like he's only doing so much with the people that they're rolling out there. So I comfortably like this.
We bet against them. We bet this game, and we were on the Rams the first matchup, and it was an interesting first quarter, and then they dominated, first half, and they dominated that second half. We'll see what the game plan is here, and it would be a nice reprieve. I don't disagree with you, but I would much rather have Cooper Kupp in this game than not. But yeah, I don't know. This one's weird to me. I'm curious to see what they how it all works out.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, baby. You got
that's what I was going to say.
That's all you need.
I mean, we were talking about this, earlier in the year when Cooper Kupp was still out and Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua were lighting up the freaking league, especially Puka. And we were saying, man, what was that? It was the Rams Niners game, right? Where I think the Rams we had them at 7 or 8 point dogs. Yeah. I forgot what it was.
7.5 when they kicked the field goal.
Yeah, that's right. And so this is one of the teams I really don't know how to make most of it. I mean, you're right, Kevin. My gut reaction is I feel great about this bet. I really do, but I feel like this is a Rams team who I don't know if they're as good as I've always been played because they've just been so consistently injured. And then the Cardinals team, I think they're better than certainly what their record says with Kyler being back, but this still should be a comfortable Rams win, right? Right?
Well, here's the model saying saying it's 3. I don't know how comfortable you feel with that. That's actually not that comfortable of a forecast, right? That's saying this is going to be a close one possession game. I forget, what did we bet? I think we bet them. I think we had them like 6.5 when we bet
first
the Rams.
Matchup?
Yeah, I think it was like a larger full touchdown. I don't think it was 2. I don't remember, but we covered.
Yeah,
and they had a dominant second half.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see what the game plan is.
We will.
The problem will, I imagine, be it's not the same game plan, though, right? You need a very different game plan against stopping Kyler Murray. Now, the good thing about Sean McVay is Kyler Murray, he's gone up against Kyler Murray more than the coach of the Cardinals has coached Kyler Murray. So, there is some coaching angles here.
For sure. Yeah. So, all right, it should be another good week. We'll see what happens with the Saints situation, but otherwise, like we just talked through all the plays, so we're locked and loaded. We could kind of I for more reasons than one. We need a good week. We just need one for the boys, so to speak. We just
one for the good guys.
Boys, for my mentals.
From a mental standpoint,
I've been taking care of my chickens, but my mental's been a lot harder to be taken care of.
Shut up, baby. Well, hey, it's if there's any weekend to do it, it's this week, baby. Thanksgiving week. It's a good weekend for a lot of good football. A lot of good football on deck. Yeah. So, all right, boys and girls, appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week breaking down everything that occurred with this week's NFL games, and looking forward to lucky week 13. So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Good luck to your bets. We'll see you next week.
Let's go.